What's good, y'all? When I say P, I mean profit. When I say S, I mean sale. You dig it? What I'm saying? But now let's keep it moving for a little fun shui. You dig it? Bienvenue in podcast Z, man. Welcome to the Z podcast. And what I want to talk about with y'all is resistance. Resistance is the opposite to flow, and flow is the opposite to resistance. No duh, right? Well, some people in life fight against the tide. Some people in life surf with the tide. No matter what side you choose, what's important in resistance is not having your feelings, your not having your biases. Do not be biased towards going with the flow, going with the flow. It just is what it is. And you either fall better on one side or you fall better on the other, or you fall better in the middle. But reality is going with the flow, like God, for example, right? There's a higher source above us. There's a higher light above us. There's a higher aspect that we are not able to perceive, right? Because it's so incapable of perceiving that it may cause you to go crazy. Well, there is a force of that nature, and there's a force of another nature, a lower nature, a nature from down below. But it's all one and the same. It's not disconnected. What I'm saying is resistance is only a part of life. Resistance is necessary. In the middle of chaos, you find answers sometimes, depending on if you're a person who can handle that amount of resistance. You know, a race of people, right? I want to say colored people, right? As a race, every race has its own karma. And a race of people that's, you could say, colors, blacks, whatever, right? Brown, Latino people, right? These people have been through a lot of resistance throughout the days and the journey of America. Um, as far as employment, as far as societal laws and uh, hairstyle, so many different factors, right? Same thing with other races. Other races, they have their own issues and things they gotta work through and they gotta deal with, right? But one thing is for sure is resistance was always put in place between everybody. Everybody goes through a form of resistance. Now, if you didn't have that, you would never have character development. If you didn't go through some kind of form of obstacle or mountain to climb or some kind of challenge to overcome, which is resistance, how would you really know what you're capable of if you graduated high school, got your diploma, you went to college, and then you got your master's degree, and then after you did that, you found a husband or a wife, and then after you did that, you saved up money, you had money to go spend. You wasn't the richest, you wasn't the poorest, but you had money to go spend and go save, and then you did that, and throughout your entire life, you went with the flow, right? But going with the flow, you played it safe the entire time. You never did anything that was out of the ordinary. You never did anything spontaneous. You never did anything that would have caused you to have new thinking patterns turned on. All you did was what you felt familiar with and comfortable with, or what was easy to do. Or you're one of those people that maybe you didn't graduate college, or you didn't graduate high school, or you went got one or the other, right? But you you made a lot of mistakes. You went through a lot of fuck ups. You went through a lot of trials and tribulations, right? You're that kind of person. Well, if you're that kind of person, you don't know nothing. I ain't gonna say you don't know nothing about going with the flow, but your life has been set up to go opposite, right? So you got to think, even if your life is going the opposite from what you want it to be, or it's going exactly how you want it to be, resistance is going to be there no matter what. And depending on your resistance, tells you what kind of person you are. And some people are given strong challenges in life because they're here for a bigger mission to serve a purpose, right? So they got to go through all kind of resistance. Other people, they're here to do this in life, so they got to go through all kind of resistance. But we all go through resistance, and what you do in the middle of that resistance is what matters the most. So with that being said, this is your podcast. Y'all have a good one.